I'm going to spend a couple minutes and talk about the historical trends or the behavior patterns over time with regard to network magic building up to the current situation. As was talked about in the behavior segment of developing a systemic perspective, which I can't spell, I guess I ought to go back and fix that. Uh, the, situa- the situation that we perceive often appears as an event, but it has in fact arose because of changes that have occurred over time. And what we need to do is to investigate and understand the trends of certain aspects of the situation which have evolved over time, the ones that are relevant to the situation. And we gather that data either from research if it's available or from stories people tell about the organization. So for network magic itself, if I look at the historical trends, and I generated this from a simulation. I mean, I trumped up the company. I may as well trump up the numbers. And it was just easier to do a simulation than to plot all the dots. Seldom will you see trends that are quite this evenly continuous. Though the way that I dreamed it up is that the new customers are continuing to grow on an ongoing basis, and the overall number of customers is accumulating rapidly, and you'll notice that this is in fact an exponential growth, which we talked about in the situation stage. So that's the situation with customers. The situation with resources, the resources in the organization has grown from just a few people to around 80 people after 2 years, though customer support has grown twice as fast as the rest of the organization, which initially one asks, why is support growing twice as fast as the rest of the organization? Personally, I'm surprised that it's only growing twice as fast as the rest of the organization. The situation with successful companies is that customers accumulate. If I create one new customer every month, in the 12th month I create one customer, but I now have 12 customers that I have to support. And the company wants to retain customers so that what happens is the support requirements for the organization grow much faster than the rest of the requirements for the rest of the organization itself. So this is the situation for, or the behavior pattern leading up to the current situation, simply realizing that the organization is just overwhelmed by resource demands that it can't meet. And I'll add here a point that I found someplace having to do with the way that you look at things when you put numbers together and compare them and see what's happening. This is in fact a trend line for sales and resources, and they're in actual values for another fabricated organization. And it's difficult when you look at this to get a sense of what's happening because of the wide variation in the data. Though if you normalize, if you take each trend line and convert it to a trend between 0 and 1 and look at it and plot them together, it becomes much easier to visualize the relationships between the data, so that from this point to this point, sales went from 0.6 to 0.9. Oh, resources went from 0.6 to 0.9, but sales over the same period went from 1 to 0.7, so that there was a 30% drop in sales while resources were increasing rapidly. Means it might be something that one should take a look at. That particular relationship is much more difficult to see from this graph than from this graph. And I just thought I'd throw that in there um, to go along with the patterns of behavior trendline stuff. So hope you found this video of interest, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.